Hello, Dancing with the Stars fans. I'm Gold Derby editor Daniel Montgomery here with our contributors Jeffrey Kare and Cordell Martin to discuss two things. We're going to discuss what happened on Monday night's show, which was Horror Night, and then we're going to discuss what's going to happen this coming Monday, which is going to be Queen Night, with dancers performing routines inspired by the music of the famous band Queen, of course. So, again, we had another bottom two that was all women. And one was not unexpected. That was Kenya Moore. The other one was slightly more surprising, although I don't think it was a complete out of nowhere shocker. Suni Lee, with the judges saving Suni and eliminating Kenya. Cordell, what did you think about that? And what do you think? How do you think that bodes for her future on the show?
Yeah, we kind of predicted that Kenya unfortunately was going to be in the bottom two, especially, since her Argentine tango didn't really go over well with the judges as she was at the bottom of the leader score. With Suni, I kind of predicted that eventually she was going to see herself in the bottom two, just because for me, she just hasn't been able to find a consistent rhythm each week. It's like one week she's really good, then the next week she goes back to being okay. So I knew eventually her time was coming to make a bottom two appearance. Not surprised that the judges saved her over Kenya because Kenya's been in the bottom several times. Yeah, and I think for Suni, I think this doesn't bode well for her chances to win the Mirrorball Trophy. As indicated with the last, I think, two or three winners, I don't believe any of them appeared in the bottom two. Maybe Bobby Bones, but I know at least both Hannah and Caitlin did not. So doesn't look well for her to hold that Mirrorball Trophy.
What do you think, Jeffrey?
Well, I'm not too surprised to see them go. Sad to see them go, but not too surprising. I voted for them as much as I could, although I thought they at least had an entertainingly strong performance to go out on. And, it's a shame we won't see them and compete throughout the rest of the season. But again, nothing in this world is ever perfect.
Yeah. And I will say, as much as I love Suni Lee, I did, after the judges threw her unnecessary shade, threw all of my votes at Melora, who is safe, thankfully, because I thought for sure that we'd see her in the bottom two before we saw Suni Lee, just because it felt like Suni Lee coming off the Olympics. She has such goodwill behind her. But no, Suni just didn't get it. And I guess more people felt like I did, that don't pick on Melora. I'm going to give her all my votes. What did you think about that, Cordell?
Yeah, to your point, I thought maybe she would have been in the bottom two with Kenya, just because she just feels like that contestant that's consistently good, but you just don't know where their fan base stands. And so I thought this was probably going to be the night where she was going to be very vulnerable. But her fans, like you, came through for her in the end.
What did you think about that, Jeffrey?
Well, yeah, I thought it was, I thought Suni Lee and Sasha both gave a magnetic performance this past week, and yeah, it was kind of nervous to see him bottom two, and and even though it was at the expense of Kenya, I was at least glad they were saved, and hopefully this encourages them to do better, and hopefully get fans to rally around them more moving forward.
On a happier note, Horror Night did give us probably the most unexpected dance of the season, from Iman Shumpert, the basketball player who I have not looked this up, but this has got to be the first perfect score for a basketball player in Dancing with the Stars history. And it was well deserved. I was all set to be like, he's got a contemporary dance. They're gonna overscore him, and I'm gonna be mad. And I had my knife, no pun intended for Horror Night. I had my knives out for that performance, and it was amazing and technical and difficult, and it wasn't just tricks. It was how well and smoothly they were executed, how well in character. I was just like, okay, you earned that. You earned that. What did you think about that, Cordell? I know you've said in, you know, for a few weeks now that you could see him being like a stealth finalist. I'm guessing you still feel that way.
Definitely. I think his performance on Monday night just sealed the deal for him to be in the finals. It has been the most buzzed about performance in a while with Dance with Stars in terms of just like the general public. I've seen Lupita Nyong'o post his performance. I've read articles about it being one of the best performances in recent years for Dance with the Stars, and it's already had like over 1 million views on YouTube. So he's definitely going to have a lot of goodwill, I think, in terms of just the support in the upcoming weeks, which is the perfect time to do so and get that support. To your point, I mean, with the contemporary, like jazz, it's usually one of those give me dances that the judges tend to overscore, whether the score is deserving or not. But with him, I mean, he just laid it all out there, and kudos to Daniela for just choreographing that routine. She better get an Emmy nomination for that routine. And I think he's a strong contender to definitely be in the finals.
What did you think about it and his chances going forward, Jeffrey?
Well, I thought the performance was weird in a good way. And well, yeah, I do think, they both have potential to continue improving. And well, if they continue this route and make it into the finals, well, I wouldn't complain too much. I mean, even though I guess it would have to depend on who's yet to be eliminated before then. But again, hey, I'm certainly, again, as I said, if they continue this trajectory of improving week by week and make it into the finals, I'm not gonna have a problem with that for the most part, I guess.
Yeah, I think it's all a matter of can they maintain the momentum, and I think there's a lot of inertia to it, and that's good for them because once you break that 10 threshold, that's sort of where the judges put you. And like if the judges want to be mean to you, maybe they'll give you a 9 or an 8. But I think he's done with like certainly 7s at this point, even if his next routines aren't quite as good. You know, this is definitely his opportunity and his perfect dance to stand at. I agree with you about Daniela's choreography. That dance would not have worked without her being able to incorporate specific movement style from the movie Us into the choreography in a way that felt natural, true to character, and in a way that really fit Iman's dance skill. So like, she'll probably have a chance to put 1 or 2 other routines on that reel. If they make it to the finals, she'll get to choreograph a freestyle. So I would love to see her get an Emmy nomination for this. Elsewhere, we had another perfect score performance, less surprising because it was Jojo Siwa, who just got a perfect score the previous week. She played Pennywise the Clown in it. What did you think about that dance and that perfect score, Cordell?
Yeah, I mean, I thought it was a well-deserved score. She killed it, did a great job. I mean, I felt that she danced a little better than her professional partner, but that's just my opinion. I loved just the theatrics of the dance. I loved just all of the musicality that she brought to it, how well she was in character, as it being a polar opposite than her bubbly personality that we are used to seeing. So yeah, well deserved, and she proved once again why she's the one to beat this season.
Yeah, what did you think of JoJo, Jeffrey?
I thought it was just perfection, and yeah, hey, yeah, and also also give credit to the costume work, the makeup, and I thought they did a great use of dancing to that song "Anything Goes." It was, I mean, it was so outside the box, and I thought they did terrific work with it.
Another dance that I thought could get a perfect score at the end of the night, that it just feels like one of the judges or the other judges just feel like, Amanda Klutz, I'm going to say something completely arbitrary that you're lacking in this dance, and not give you a 10. So she's come really close to perfect 10s a couple times now. And this time it was Kare and Len who thought, maybe a little too sharp, which I'm not even sure what they really meant by that. Because she's playing Jigsaw. So and she did it just about as well, I think, as JoJo did Pennywise, but didn't get a perfect score. What do you think it is about Amanda Cordell that just like she seems like the perfect contestant who would just like give that magical performance, get that perfect tens, but Iman Shumpert beat her to a perfect score. No offense to Iman, but like he's like not the contestant you would have expected that from.
Mhm. Yeah, I definitely thought with the Argentine tango that this was going to be Amanda's perfect score. Like she just has the look and the musicality to just kill it. I thought she did an amazing job. She should have gotten a perfect score in my opinion. But she's just that one contestant that has that dance experience that the judges just like to nitpick. Like every season you have one, whether it was like Normani or Nicole Scherzinger, they nitpick until like week 7 or 8, and they're like, "Oh my god, you're the best dancer ever," and then they just get perfects leading up to the final. So I can see in the next week or two she's gonna hit that perfect mark, and then they're just gonna go crazy with the tens.
What did you think about Amanda and her scores, Jeffrey?
Well, I thought she, both gave a pun intended killer routine this past week. And as for why she hasn't gotten perfect score yet, well, I mean, again, I guess echoing a lot of what Cordell just said, yeah, it seems that judges are probably taking her a little too much for granted given her dancing background and such. And, I do hope she eventually I hope she gets the perfect score within the next week or so because she really deserves it. And I just hope that judges judge her fairly with her score as well, at least more than they do, and just treat her like everyone else, see how she does, because, like, she's still a contestant, she's still giving her all like everyone else is, so it shouldn't matter if she has more dance experience than every other celebrity on this season.
And we're looking ahead now to Queen Night to see if maybe this will be the week that Amanda gets that perfect score, or even more potentially, based on the way the multiple dances are set up. So you've got the individual dances and you've got the relay dances, where the celebs will dance for bonus points. Let's start with the individual dances. I have them pulled up. I have not looked at what the individual dances are because I want to be surprised with everybody else, unless you guys have seen them already, in which case it's fine. But I will be surprised at the very least. So we've got Jimmy Allen, who almost got a perfect score. He had a contemporary routine this week. I thought he was a little overscored. But this week, for Queen Night, he's got a Viennese waltz to Somebody to Love, which seems like a solid dance he'll do okay on. What do you think, Cordell?
I think this will be another great dance for him. I think his contemporary was really emotional, and he really dug deep and felt the music and the performance. I think this will be another great song choice for him and dance that I think will go over well with the judges and definitely the public. So I could definitely see him escaping the bottom two and making it to the next week.
What do you think about it, Jeffrey?
Well, I echo a lot of what Cordell just said. I especially thought, what Jimmy and Emma did in the ballroom this past week was very creative. So I'll be curious to see what they do with, that song next week. And yeah, again, I guess since since he just had his new baby, it's been clear he's been pouring, the emotions he's gone through, how it's sort of, kind of relates to the songs he's working with. Yeah, so yeah, I'm curious to see how they'll do next week.
Yeah, I think we had an emotional proud father moment from him this week. I think this is going to be the proud husband moment with a waltz, a very romantic dance to Somebody to Love. So I think I think he's probably going to be safe with that one. Then we've got Jojo Siwa. She is performing, again, another one that I don't think will be a problem for her. She's performing a tango to Body Language. What do you think about that, Cordell?
Let's see. I mean, the past 2 weeks she's gotten perfect scores. I feel like this is probably gonna be the week when the judges start to nitpick at her, just so it doesn't seem like she's like winning by a landslide. I could definitely see one of the judges saying that, body contact needed to be a little more closer or more body contact. I still think she'll do well and definitely be near the top of the leaderboard, but I don't think she'll get another perfect score with this routine.
Yeah, I probably agree that they sort of know when to rein it in, or know when they think they should. Like if they go too hard, too fast for someone. So yeah, I can see them pulling a, oh, I saw your foot.
Yep.
It could have been a little bit to the left, so you get a 9 instead of a 10.
Uh-huh.
What do you think, Jeffrey?
Well, let's see. Jojo dancing to a song called dancing a tango to a song called Body Language sounds like something, well, that needs to be visualized, I guess. But, and, well, to the points that have been made, well, I mean, yeah, I guess it's possible the judges start to nitpick at her this week. But if she gets another perfect score, then, yeah, I think she's starting to look even better for the champion.
And then we've got Iman Shumpert, who, man, they're testing fate with him this week because he's got a Paso Doble, which has killed a few celebrities this season. And of all songs, he's dancing it to Another One Bites the Dust.
Gosh.
Which is like, wow. I wouldn't like, I mean, I think he'll be safe. I don't think he'll be like, whatever his scores are, I think he'll have enough audience support to keep him safe. But yeah, that's like, I don't want to go into this next week dancing to Another One Bites the Dust. Like that just feels like a bad omen. What do you think, Cordell?
Yeah, I think this is gonna be another entertaining routine with Iman. Hopefully he doesn't buckle under the pressure because I mean, just with the buzz with this past week's performance, I think they're just hitting their stride and having the momentum. And the Paso is also another very entertaining dance if done right. But also it's one of those dances that's more in the wheelhouse for the male celebrities, just because it's more masculine feel in the attack and aggression. So I think they'll be fine this week.
Yeah, what do you think, Jeffrey?
Well, that's a great song to dance to. I mean, as for how I think Amon and Danielle will do, well, it should be interesting. Again, to the points I already made earlier, I'll be curious to see, what they've learned from the take. I'm curious to see what they've learned from, the competition so far and see how they can do even better. And yeah, I'm intrigued.
Yeah, and it's a technical dance, so I feel like if he gets 9s, like if he can hold on down solid 9s for it, like then he'll be looking good for the rest of the season. Then we've got Olivia Jade, who has been in the bottom 2, but wasn't in the bottom 2 this past week. She will be dancing a quick step to Fat Bottomed Girls, which again, like feels like, what are you trying to tell me, producers, when you give me this song? But no, I think her technique is pretty spot on. I don't worry about her on technique. I think Val will give her great choreography. I'm just trying to figure out if it's a dance that she'll stand out to enough to, like when she was in the bottom 2 and then fans saved her, that like happens sometimes. It happened to Kenya. And then she landed back at the bottom again. So I can see Olivia landing back at the bottom again with this one if it's not just such a showstopper. She doesn't have that kind of outgoing personality that often helps you really kind of engage and get the fans. What do you think, Cordell?
Yeah, I definitely can see her being in the bottom 2. Just because, to your point, I mean, the quick step can be a very entertaining dance, but it's not one of those show-stopping dances. And she's a very polarizing figure, at least me reading stuff on Twitter. There was definitely a lot of people who felt she should have been eliminated. So with that, and I think also with her being safe last week, I think it might be kind of the same thing as like Kenya, where she was safe the following week after being saved by the judges, only to land back in the bottom 2. I think we'll probably see her back in the bottom 2 on Monday.
What do you think, Jeffrey?
Well, I mean, I thought Olivia and Val both did terrific work this week, and thank goodness they were able to stay out of the bottom 2. But yeah, I agree with Cordell that it's possible they could. Well, I mean, depending on how they do next week, that they could find themselves back there next week. But they really need to bring their A game to the routine, whatever they have in store for that routine, to really prevent that from happening.
Yeah. And the next one worries me a little bit. It's Suni Lee, who we talked about earlier, who has an issue of needing to break out of her shell, to be really emotionally engaged with her dance, and passionate and fiery, and a little bit more, give it a little bit more oomph. And they gave her a dance and a song that, like, she absolutely needs to deliver on. It's a paso doble, just like Iman, that she needs to sell the aggression on, and they gave her "We Will Rock You." Like, she needs to be up at the level of "We Will Rock You," which worries me. I mostly, I want her to have fun and look like she's having fun out there. You know, and if you should be able to have fun to "We Will Rock You," but I'm a little bit nervous. What do you think, Cordell?
Yeah, I mean, this is going to be make or break for her. I think with her being the bottom two is definitely going to mess with her confidence. We're definitely going to see some tears in her clip package, so be prepared for that. And either she's going to fold under the pressure, or like the champion that she is, she's going to rise above it and kill it. I'm thinking she will probably kill it. You know, usually for athletes, you get knocked down, but then you come right back up. And I think this might be her redemption dance where she might see a few tens.
Yeah, what I hope she channels, like, if she's frustrated with being in the bottom two, she channels it into anger, because the paso
Yes.
doble is perfect for that.
Uh-huh.
What do you think, Jeffrey?
Well, I agree with what Cordell just said. I really hope Suni Lee and Sasha really step up their A game this next week, and especially, you know, with a song like "We Will Rock You," well, that's gotta get the audience clapping like this. And yeah, and I do hope they do the best they can to really continue staying in this competition for as long as possible, but we're gonna have to wait and see.
Then we got Melora Hardin, who was criticized for sort of being too safe and taking the same route through her dances of doing the little humorous character pieces that she's been doing in previous weeks. Although they've given her the dances and the, you know, the thematic material for her to do that, so it's not really entirely her fault. But this week she's got one that could go either way, really. She's got a foxtrot to Killer Queen. Now the dance is one where she could give the elegance. Killer Queen is a big kind of bold song. I mean, it's Queen Night, so they're all kind of big bold songs. But this one, I feel like it could go either way. I'm trying to figure out how Artem in particular will choreograph it to kind of address that concern, to kind of show off a different side of Melora, and what particular side they're going to go with on Killer Queen. Because she's a really good actress, so she has range. We know that. What do you think, Cordell?
Yeah. To your point, I'm really curious to how they're going to pull that off. I think it's going to be pretty much along the same veins of all of her other performances, meaning that Lynn is going to love it regardless. But, you know, I think for her, I don't want her to lose sight of the fun and the experience, because I think sometimes the judges will get into these contestants' heads and they feel like they have to, you know, please them, and only just to lose themselves in the competition. And, you know, early on, like you saw that self-doubt with Melora, I think with one of the dances, but I don't want her to internalize what the judges are saying, because, you know, judges are the judges. But I think as long as she just sticks to who she is, I mean, clearly the fans love her, so no need to change the script right now.
What do you think about it, Jeffrey?
Well, yeah, if it's not broke, don't fix it. But hey, again, seeing how much better Laura and Artem have been doing within these past few weeks, yeah, I'm certainly am curious to see how they're gonna do. I mean, I thought what they did this past week was a ton of fun. As for this week, again, well, hopefully it shouldn't be too much of a problem for her, and that they keep this momentum going.
Then we've got Amanda Klutz, who we were also discussing earlier. Will this be her perfect dance? It's going to be a jive to "Don't Stop Me Now," which is a good opportunity. for her to get a perfect score, I think. Although she's the kind of dancer who I would have thought would have gotten her perfect score for one of like the elegant or sensual, passionate ones, like the tango this past week. Thought it seemed like it was going to be it, or a waltz, or a foxtrot, or that kind of thing. I could see her doing it for a jive because I think she's going to have the steps down, and of course, just her ability to use her legs in all of her dances has just been sensational. So, what do you think, Cordell? Will this be the one?
I hope so. It depends on her placement in terms of when she's going. If she's going early on in the first half of the show, she probably won't get 30s. I mean, a perfect score. Um, but I definitely can see her doing really well. I mean, she has shown she's a very versatile dancer and that she can do Latin, she can do ballroom and everything in between. So I think this will be another great routine by Amanda.
What do you think, Jeffrey?
Like keeping my fingers crossed for her to get that perfect score, and I don't see how she could possibly, even if she doesn't get a perfect score, I can't see how she could possibly underwhelm performance-wise because I mean she's been killing it week by week, and again I do hope this is the week she finally gets that perfect score. I mean again, and to Cordell's point, it should be interesting to see where she and when in the nights she and Alan will be performing. So we'll see.
Then we've got one of the showstoppers who is always has the charisma and has the performance quality, The Miz. He's performing a dance that's not, I don't think, in his wheelhouse, but I think he could be solid on a foxtrot to Radio Gaga, which I think it'll be a test for him. Like, how well can he communicate that charisma and personality through a more formal kind of dance, in a lot of it in hold, and without the kind of grand theatrics of him being Pinhead or the genie from Aladdin, or although it's Radio Gaga, so maybe he'll dress as Lady Gaga. It'll just be a neat dress. What do you think, Cordell?
Yeah, starting out this season, The Miz was definitely one of those contestants that I was like, okay, I could see him making it to the finals. But I think over the last couple of weeks, he's kind of faded in the background. So it'll be very interesting to see how he fares with this dance this week. Because to your point, I mean, he's not going to have the elaborate costume that makes you go, ooh, ah. It's going to rely more on his dancing and his performance. So this will definitely be a true test for him this week to see if he will continue moving on or will he make an appearance in the bottom two.
What do you think, Jeffrey?
Well, I mean, he has been one of the more interesting contestants. I mean, I thought he and Whitney both did a wickedly dynamic routine this past week. As for how they could possibly do next week, I mean, it should be interesting. I think The Miz is certainly one of the more interesting celebrity contestants this season, both in terms of background and quality. And well, hey, I'll certainly be curious to see what the production values of the routine's going to be.
Yeah, that one will be interesting, and so will the next one, which is the last individual dance of the night. And it's another foxtrot for Cody Rigsby, to You're My Best Friend, which that one is one I'm a little bit more, because I feel like The Miz has the personality regardless. Cody, I'm not sure how well he'll be able to sell a foxtrot in that same way. I'm interested. What do you think, Cordell?
Same. And it'll be very interesting to see how he will fare come Monday night because I've always thought he would have already been in the bottom two at least. But surprisingly, he has escaped the bottom two every single week. So, like The Miz, this will be kind of a litmus test to see how strong their fan base is now that we're getting down to the wire.
What do you think, Jeffrey?
Well, I echo a lot of what Cordell just said. Yeah, it's been interesting to see Cody and Cheryl really escape the bottom two. And, I thought, well, performance wise, I thought they both did some skillfully done work this past week. And, well, I'll be curious to see what they're going to do next week, as well as how they're going to do, and and as well as seeing if they can continue escaping the bottom two, especially as well, when you look at the quality of all the performers who are left.
And then after the individual dances, we'll have the relay dances where you'll have there will be 3 dance styles. For each dance style, there will be 3 celebrities and their pro partners dancing. And whoever has the best routine of those 3 will get bonus points added to their overall score. And the groupings are interesting. There will be a jive to Crazy Little Thing Called Love, and that will be performed by The Miz, Iman Shumpert, and Cody Rigsby. So I feel like they've sort of loosely grouped them by like the level they're at in the competition, because these 3 have been not the high scoring overall. And on a jive, I don't think any one of them in particular has the strongest advantage. I think Iman did that for week 1, or was it a quick step?
I think it was a jive week 1.
Okay, and I thought he was better than the judges gave him credit for on that dance. So I would give him the slight advantage on this one, especially just because he's done it already. So he could polish it up a bit. What do you think, Cordell?
Yeah, I could definitely see Iman probably coming out with the win. Also, I wouldn't be surprised if The Miz, because I mean the judges seem to like him for the most part. So I said one of those 2, but watch me Cody come Monday.
What do you think, Jeffrey?
Well, yeah, that's definitely an interesting pairing, and I'm with Cordell that I could see Iman or The Miz doing it, but yeah, Cody winning would definitely be surprising.
Yeah. Then you've got a foxtrot to Under Pressure. And I feel like this is, no offense to the third person, but I think this is going to be a 2-way race. And guess which way you think that'll go. Jojo Siwa, Olivia Jade, and Jimmy Allen. Cordell, which of those 3 has the least chance, and why Jimmy Allen?
That is so messed up. That really,
I like him, but they'd stack the deck against him in that trio.
They really tried it. Like, oh God. Definitely. Well, I would say on paper, I could see JoJo winning the relay. However, depending on how Olivia does, I could see them throwing her a bone.
Yeah, me too. What do you think, Jeffrey?
Well, let's see. I'd be shocked if JoJo loses, but yeah, I mean, I can definitely see Olivia being our closest competition there, and I also don't see how Jimmy could escape 3rd place there.
Yeah, I feel like they really should have put Jimmy in the next trio and put Amanda Klutz, who's in that next trio, in this group. It feels like that would have been a much more even matchup, because then that last one is a Viennese Waltz, Amanda Klutz, who again, right in her wheelhouse, and it will be her against Suni Lee and Melora Hardin. On paper, feels like an Amanda Klutz win, but I can see, again, like Cordell was saying, with Olivia Jade, depending on how she does earlier in the night, depending on what they want to do, I could see them throwing a bone to Melora or Suni. What do you think, Cordell?
100% agree with you. I think Suni probably won't get the points. I think as long as she kills it with her paso, I think that's going to be her reward for the night. Amanda, I can see on paper being the front runner for those points, but I could definitely see them giving it to Melora once it's all said and done.
What do you think, Jeffrey?
Well, I agree that I can definitely see Amanda on paper being an ideal front runner, but her fellow competitors in that group are still pretty strong. Like, I could definitely see Melora being her biggest competition, or maybe even Suni Lee if she does well, which, hey, she would definitely need it given what happens this past week.
Yeah. And with all of that in mind, who is your bottom 2? For me, I'm thinking Olivia Jade got that bounce back last week. That's going to fade. She's going to be in the bottom two. It's a matter of whether Suni gets that bounce back this week after landing in the bottom two. I think there's a good chance she will, which makes me really nervous and think that it's going to be Melora this time. What do you think, Cordell?
Yeah. And I mean, we knew this was going to happen. We knew the guys were just going to dominate. I mean, the fact that none of them have been in the bottom two yet makes me really nervous. I think Olivia will definitely be in the bottom two. And I could see Melora in the bottom two as well. If there's a guy that falls in the bottom two, I would say probably Cody out of the four remaining guys.
Yeah, especially with the dances he's got and the competition he has in the relays, it's hard for me to see him being the standout of the night.
Mm-hmm.
What do you think, Jeffrey?
Well, yeah, I hate to once again echo what Cordell just said, but yeah, again, given how Olivia was in the bottom two last week, but bounced back this past week, I can certainly see factor where viewer voters probably thinking, yeah, okay, so since she escaped the bottom two this past week, okay, I don't need to throw my support to her as much, which probably thinking she's safe, but in reality, yeah, she needed your votes, so hopefully that doesn't happen, but it's still possible. And yeah, I can also see a case for Melora and maybe Suni Lee if she doesn't bounce back. Yeah, and I also agree that of the remaining guys, I can definitely see Cody Rigsby finding his way back in the bottom two again, depending on how next week goes.
So it'll be interesting to see what happens. This is like a really good top nine. Like most places, if you think of like someone finishing in ninth place, it's like, oh, either they went home way too soon or they were like, pretty mediocre. And I think everyone here who's still in the competition, even the ones who aren't as good or consistent, are like in most other seasons would be solidly top 5 or 6 material. So it'll be really interesting to see who goes and when and why. And how with the judges' scores and the viewer votes. But we'll have plenty more to talk about after Queen Night. We'll be back next week to discuss those results and then what happens the following week. We can preview that. So until then, I want to thank Jeffrey and Cordell once again for every week joining me to hash it all out. And thank you to everyone for watching. We will see you next week.